What's up? What? It's your favorite girl in the building one more time, Kayla, and I need you to come on a ride with me today. So I heard this young man talking on Instagram, and mind you, I'm not usually on Instagram like that. Either Facebook or TikTok is my poison when getting information or just simply entertainment. And so I was on Instagram today, or was it yesterday, and I saw this young man say that oftentimes you hear about people talk about where they came from and how they grew up. I'm pretty sure you guys have heard, oh, that's just not how I was raised, or that's not what my family taught me, or I didn't grow up with the mother, I didn't grow up with the father, so I don't have a father, which is why I act the way that I act, because I didn't have a father figure, or so and so forth. So you hear a lot of people talk about that, but really it's the decisions that you make that really make your life. I will say in some instances, your past can definitely affect you mentally and emotionally, and sometimes inhibit you from making the decisions that you need to make to go and move forward. So I'm not going to say that they never have effect on you, but if you want to give it a percentage, you know, you hear about the 80-20 rule. The first time I heard about it was on Tyler Perry, but if you want to use it in real life, for real life instances, then you can say 80% of your life is going to be dependent upon the decisions that you make. 20% will be because of how you was raised. And I'll use myself as an example. I wasn't taught in detail about money. I wasn't taught, hey, you need to save this and you need to save that. As a matter of fact, as the oldest, and I'm pretty sure whoever is watching this, if you are the oldest child, you oftentimes have seen a lot more, experienced a lot more, because you are growing up with your parents in a way, and your parents are learning how to parent. So for me, my parents didn't have a whole lot, so there were many instances where I had to give up my birthday money. I had to give up special occasion money, or if a family member gave me money or whatever, I had to give it up to help my parents with gas, or whatever the case may be. And I don't fault them for it, because my parents today are not the same parents that my brother is experiencing today. Not by any stretch of imagination. My parents are not rich, but their financial situation is much better today than it was when I was in, my elementary years, or my middle school years, or my high school years. It's just totally different. And so I had to help in some type of way, if I had it. And so with that being said, I wasn't taught to save. I was taught to help. I wasn't taught, hey, put your finances on a spreadsheet or Excel sheet and make sure you follow that. I wasn't taught about investing. I wasn't taught about different stuff like that, but I had to make a decision to learn how to steward my money appropriately. Now, because I experienced needing to help, or having to help, it caused me to be more closed fist. So what that means is that when I did get money, I wanted to keep it close to me, because it seemed like I could never keep it with me at all when I was younger. So I developed the habit of wanting to keep a closed fist. So I didn't want to help people sometimes. I just didn't want to do all of that, because it's like, well, dang, I'm always giving, and I feel like I'm not going to have anything. And so that's what I learned. And a lot of that was still helpful, because I learned not to just spend my money on frivolous things or on things that don't matter. I learned how to be content. I learned how to not eat out and just cook at the house, especially when I moved out on my own. Like, I learned how to be a good steward over my money because of what I experienced. But ultimately, it was like I said before, it was my decisions that helped me in my financial journey. It was my decisions that helped me in my faith journey. It was my decisions that helped me develop a healthy relationship with people or with things in general, like, right? I need y'all to start to be more cognizant of what you're saying and hear what you're saying, because oftentimes what can happen is that we become unconscious, or we become so used to saying a certain thing that we don't even realize that we're saying it. So if the fallback or the excuse is always, oh, that's just not how I grew up, or I didn't learn this and I didn't learn that, then that means that you have used your excuse as a reason to why you're so hindered in life, when really you're the fault. It's not your parents' fault. It's not your grandparents' fault. It's not your teacher's fault. What did you do as you grew up? What did you say to yourself as you grew up? And yes, again, I'm not discounting the fact that positive words, positive habits, positive role models, I'm not saying that those things do not help. It definitely does. And it actually gives you a head start in a lot of places and areas in your life. But it's not the end all be all, because we know and we have seen there have been some incredibly disadvantaged people that you've seen in interviews, that you've met along your Christian journey or your financial journey, people that literally had the bottom of the barrel experience in life, but they were able to grow from it and do more with what they had, because they had the mentality, I'm not going to let this get me down. I'm not going to use this as an excuse. I'm not going to stay where I am just because where I came from or how I grew up. Like, you just have some people that just get it. You have some people that come out the womb with the mentality that you will not hold me down. Matter of fact, I won't hold me down. Like, you just have some of those people that are that way. And unfortunately, everybody don't have that type of personality. But when you are around people that continue to make excuses because of what they didn't experience, that can give you one or two indications. The first indication is the fact that you need to be careful around those type of individuals, because the more excuses that they give themselves are the more excuses that they can give you. Those excuses can be given to you in a way that can be very detrimental to who you are as an individual, because it can start to make you think, oh, yo, I can really give myself an excuse too because of this, and this. Or it's just simply the fact that when people give you excuses, you fall into the trap of helping when really you're hindering at the same time. You never want to get in the place of where you're helping and nothing is changing, because you're hindering them from realizing, oh, yo, I'm really messed up. Oh, man, I really need to change. Man, I got some messed up habits about myself. Man, I got this, I got that. You're hindering because you keep stepping in. I'm going to be honest, that's one of the things I had to learn for myself. Like, because my mind was renewed and my hand began to open as I submitted my life to Christ, and I began to understand that my resources came from the source, therefore I should use my resources to help others, I did become very open-handed in some ways. I began to say yes to a lot of things that I probably should not have. And so I began to hinder people. So that's the only reason why I can tell you that. I'll say this again. Your life is going to be dependent upon 80% of your decisions and 20% of how you grew up. It's up to you to make sure that you're utilizing every resource around you. You're connecting with the people around you that can actually help you, and that you're not making excuses for yourself and for other people when they decide not to change, or they decide that they don't want to change. It's not up to you to try to change others. It's only up to you to try to change you, regardless of your background and where you came from. Please don't let grandma mess you up when it comes to love, finances, and faith. Please don't let mama and grandpa mess you up because the things that you saw them do, that you know for a fact wasn't right once you got around the right people. So I won't keep y'all long, but that's just something that I was like, yo, I really need to talk about that. And it's important that we again, like I said, become more cognizant of the things that you're saying to yourself, about yourself, or to other people about yourself. If all you got to talk about are the things of how you grew up, not to say it's bad, because some people have grown up in a very nurturing household where faith and finances is not a problem, because they grew up in a spiritual household of spiritual things and stewardship. So I can't fault you for that. But there are some people, again, like I said, will use it as a crutch, and you don't need to do that. So I want to encourage you guys, again, like I said, be cognizant, be aware of what you're saying, how you're saying it, be aware of who is around you and how they're speaking and how they're conveying conversation or things about themselves as well, and get from around those people if all they got to say is, oh, well, my grandmama taught me this, and you know for a fact what grandmama told them wasn't even right. So with that being said, I ain't gonna keep you long. Please be encouraged. Please encourage somebody along the way, and share this information or share this thought process with somebody else. And please don't forget that your life is dependent upon your willingness to grow beyond what you have been exposed to, and you have been exposed to this. So it's time for you to take heed to what was said, take what's for you, apply it in your life, and help others in what you apply. So with that, I hope you have a blessed day, and I'll see y'all next time. Be easy. Peace, y'all.